Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 17 of 2025, starting April 21st. I'm Spencer W. Stewart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues and Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar Collecting Insights. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below in the description. The Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. Links to auctions and news items can also be found below in the description. And while you're there, if you want to stay up to date, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications. Okay, let's get into last week's results. Tuesday, April 22nd, Swann Galleries had fine books. There were 360 lots offered, of which 315 sold, making for an 87.5% sell-through rate. The highest price realized was for lot 305, Pierre Gassendi's Life of Tycho Brahe, published in 1654, with a manuscript presentation leaf from another volume in Brahe's hand. Estimates were set at $8,000 to $12,000 US, realizing $37,500 US. A buy-in of note, lot 115, William Blake's Illustrations of the Book of Job, published in 1825, one of 100 copies printed on Whatman paper. Estimates were set at $20,000 to $30,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation, lot 60, an English translation of the Holy Bible, published in 1613. Estimates were set at $4,000 to $6,000 US, realizing $18,750 US. As well as lot 17, an album with original photographs celebrating Chinese mail delivery by air, published from around 1933 in a limited edition of 20. Estimates were set at $800 to $1,200 US, realizing $4,500 US. Still with Tuesday, Vermot and Associates had art books, an antique dealer's library, Chapter 1, Fine Arts in Italy. There were 440 lots offered, of which 341 sold, making for a 77.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for 404, Vasari's Lives of the Artists. This copy published in 1757. Estimates were set at 200 to 300 euros, realizing 700 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation was 242, Benedict Nicholson's Caravagism in Europe. Estimates set at 20 to 30 euros, realizing 300 euros. On to Wednesday. University Archives had rare autographs, books, photos, and ephemera. There were 535 lots offered, of which 513 sold, making for a 95.8% sell-through rate. The highest price realized was for 305, a personal copy of Marilyn Monroe's script for the unfinished film Something's Gotta Give from 1962. Estimates were set at $75,000 to $100,000 US, realizing $55,000 US. A buy-in of note, 503, 3 manuscript pages from around the 1940s by Albert Einstein connected to unified field theory equations. Estimates were set at $80,000 to $120,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was 73, a manuscript document signed by Abraham Lincoln connected to the appointment of John A. Graham as interim register of the Treasury, dated 1862. Estimates were set at $5,000 to $7,000 US, realizing $22,500 US. Finally, with Wednesday, Purcell Auctioneers had sale of the library of the late Bruce Arnold. There were 669 lots offered, of which 589 sold, making for an 88% sell-through rate. The highest price realized was for lot 196A, an extensive collection of titles by or about Louis MacNeice. Estimates were set at 60 to 120 euros, realizing 1,300 euros. A past lot of note, 252, the works of the Right Honourable Joseph Addison, published in 1721. This was the first edition of the collected works of Addison. Estimates were set at 500 to 800 euros. On to Thursday. ALDE had a sale connected to Greece and the Levant, including atlases as well as travel books. There were 293 lots offered, of which 203 sold, making for a 96.2% sell-through rate. The highest price realized was for this second edition of Ptolemy's First Modern Atlas. Estimates were set at 40,000 to 50,000 euros, realizing 100,000 euros. A buy-in of note, lot 283, 3 volumes of the natural history of parrots, published between 1804 and 1805, and again with the third supplementary volume in 1837 to 38. Estimates were set at 40,000 to 50,000 euros. Still with Thursday, Forum Auctions had their online sale, Books and Works on Paper. There were 306 lots offered, of which 275 sold, making for an 89.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for a journal written by one Sergeant M. Roberts, which was a narrative of the shipwreck of the Royal Charlotte, dated from around 1825. Estimates were set at £600 to £800, realizing £4,000. A buy-in of note, Lot 18, The Young Lady's Companion in Cookery, this edition published in 1734. Estimates were set at £1,500 to £2,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 103, The Works of Jacob Boehm, published between 1764 and 1781. This was the first collected edition in English of his works. Estimates were set at £200 to £300, realizing £2,600. And 119, a collection of 18th century French works relating to Paris and its environs, many in contemporary bindings. Estimates were set at £400 to £600, realizing £3,400. Finally, on to Friday. Fleischer's Auctions had day one of their historic Americana and African American history. There were 269 lots offered, of which 262 sold, making for a 97.3% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 46, The Diaries of August Chetland, from 1867 to 1873, detailing life among Mormons as well as the Franco-Prussian War. Estimates were set at $10,000 to $15,000, realizing $39,000. Two lots that exceeded expectation. This Declaration of Independence, printed in 1833, estimates were set at $5,000 to $10,000, realizing $37,000. And Lot 167, a full-length studio portrait album of many members of the Crutcher as well as Powell families of Mercer County. But what made this album exceptional was the heroic representation of Matt Bronsford, an enslaved gentleman who was also the guide of the Mammoth Caves. Estimates were set here at $750 to $1,500, realizing $31,000. Coming into next week, these are some sales we have our eyes on. Tuesday, April 29th, Rossini has Stamps, Books, and Old Papers. Still with Tuesday, Bonhams has Father of the Modern Fairy Tale, Hans Christian Andersen, from the collection of Justin G. Schiller. Wednesday, April 30th, Fonsie Mealy Auctioneers has Rare Book and Collector's Sale. Thursday, May 1st, has PBA Galleries Americana, Travel and Exploration, as well as World History and Maps and Views. And finally, Freeman's Hindman has American Historical Ephemera and Early Photography. In the news, there's still room for registrants for the Collecting Insights. As mentioned before, all registrants receive a complimentary copy of Contemporary Issues and Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting. So be sure to follow the links below in the description to see which session would fit you best. Well, that's been the week from here. What'd you think of last week's results? Were there any results that surprised you? Any things that you had your eye on? Any sales you think we should cover? Put your comments below and we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to take a break next week, but we're going to do double week of coverage the week after. So again, if you want to stay in touch, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Well, all for now, and see you in 2 weeks.